Shalom. First, I want to give all praises, glory, and honor to Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shai. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone that rule well. All right. Blessings to the elect and the remnant of Israelites who are scattered worldwide, who are predestined to be saved. All right. This is Brother Yakao coming with another video, very short video, and Lord willing, you'll be edified. And it's coming through the power and spirit of Yahweh Bahashim, Yahweh Shai. And we're just going to jump into it because, and I said it in a recent video I did, I think a couple of weeks ago, where I used this quote from this fat bastard here, this piece of shit, Winston Churchill, who was a Freemason, and he said, never let a good crisis go to waste. All right, never let a good crisis go to waste. And you have to understand that the spirit that these Edomites have in them is the spirit of the serpent. All right, and a serpent is very subtle. It will be in the grass. It will camouflage itself, and then when it sees its prey, it will just pounce out of the blue. Rattlesnakes, they'll coil themselves up, and then boom, they strike. All right, and that's the same spirit that is in these devils. So when they are doing something which is covert, which is undercover, all right, and the Lord gives us the spirit and the eyes to see, we have to do these videos to expose that, man. Okay, because when we do things like this, it's basically we're fulfilling prophecy, just like Ezekiel 3:17, where it says, I made you a watchman unto the house of Israel. Hear the word at my mouth and give them warning from me. All right. So when we do these videos to basically expose the tricks of this devil, it's more or less us warning you about what's coming down the pipe. All right. And it's always the geopolitics and the things that are going on today always has to be filtered through the scriptures. Okay. So, about these college campuses and all these protests. And if you notice, and I said this the other day to a couple of people that I know, that if you notice these protests, there might be a few, a lot of people that are, really passionate about the Palestinian cause, etc., what's happening in Gaza. But there will always be people that will just jump on the bandwagon, and it's just a fad. And they will just jump on that fad and, and go, just like the Pied Piper. And we saw that with the Black Lives Matter, but there's a reason why they're doing it. All right, so let's get into this video.
Students protesting Israel's assault on Gaza. From New York to Berlin, San Francisco to Sydney, students have set up Gaza solidarity encampments to call for a ceasefire and to demand that their schools disclose and divest from companies with ties to Israel. Many universities have responded by calling the police onto their campuses to violently break up the encampments. In the U.S. alone, over 2,000 students, faculty, and supporters have been arrested at dozens of universities over the past 3 weeks. But as the campus crackdowns continue, students at a number of universities have managed to negotiate agreements where administrators have acceded to some of the protesters' demands. One of the first was Pitzer College.
And if you look at this picture, if you look at these protesters, and as I said, some of them might generally believe in the cause, but I guarantee this, there are agents among these students, because you have to understand that the secret societies, which are not secret anymore, like Skull and Bones, all right, that is at Yale University, and I'm sure one of the protests is in Yale. All right, Yale's a big so-called Ivy League university, etc. So obviously they have people that are on campus that are part of these fraternities, all right, so-called secret societies, and they're pushing this. Okay, but why are they doing that? As it says, as I showed you with this devil, he said, never let a good crisis go to waste. And when you saw they broke up the encampments, you saw the police in riot gear, you saw them basically militarized. And the media has tried to make out like these students are actually dangerous, which is laughable. All right. So number one is practice, but number two is to bring in laws, and they have brought in laws already because of this thing. So that's why we're gonna get into. I think it was Apostle Gabar that did this video, and it's a very, very, very good video. But I want to play this first. All right, because we have to get used to the concept, all right, that these devils use, called problem, reaction, solution. All right, now let's watch this. This is by David Icke, who's paid off agent himself, but let's hear this.
Financial center, along with places like Wall Street, where the bloodline families interlock again. The same people run America, as run Britain, as run Germany, etc. They have funded many, many times both sides in wars. And ironically and sickeningly, behind me, opposite the Bank of England, in the center of this square, is a memorial to those who died in the two world wars. Let's just going to have a look at that. What happens in terms of creating wars is a technique, a mind manipulation technique that I call in my books problem, reaction, solution. And it works like this. If you want to introduce something, say centralization of power through the United Nations, centralization of power militarily with NATO, the North Atlantic Treaty Organization, the biggest military organization in the world that's expanding all the time. If you want to centralize power into fewer and fewer hands, if you did that openly and said this is what we want to do, there'd be a reaction against that. People would say, hey, this is a fascist state you want to create. We're not having this. But through this technique of problem, reaction, solution, you can actually manipulate people to demand you do what you want to do anyway. So it works like this. First of all, you create the problem, but you get someone else to be blamed for it. You then report that problem through the media in the way you want it reported, because the media is owned by the same people that own the banks and etc. You get the public to react to your problem by saying something must be done, this can't go on, what are they going to do about it? And at that point, they, who have covertly created the problem and blame someone else, who glean that reaction of do something, then offer the solution to the problems they have created.
That's right. There you go.
And it works like this. Problem, reaction, solution. Problem, reaction, solution. Problem, reaction, solution. Problem, reaction, solution. And it works like this.
If you tell the people they have an external enemy, they'll follow you anywhere.
They are 99% certain at this point that Osama bin Laden is behind today's terrorist attacks. Problem, reaction, solution. Problem, reaction, solution. Problem, reaction, solution. Problem, reaction, solution.
And what came out of 9/11? They brought out something called the Patriot Act, where the government can spy on you, and everyone accepted it because of that so-called attack. So they created the problem. All right, people reacted to that with shock and horror because people died. And let me say this: I was in university, and a guy in my class, his twin brother died in one of the towers, man. And I remember when he came back from New York, I said, did you get any answers? And the first thing he said is they're lying. All right. And they were lying. That was just a controlled demolition, man. All right. So they create a problem. People react to that problem with shock and awe. And then they bring in a solution, which is usually putting laws to take away your rights. All right. Now, they've done that. All right. And they're in the midst of doing that with this whole college campus thing. Okay. What is going to come out of that? Well, let's give this is a good example. Here you go. So we're not ignorant to this devil's devices, man. Okay.
Than the rest of the planet. National Holocaust Remembrance Alliance went in
Of many Jewish college students, but many others say that they feel intimidated and unsafe.
Within the hour, the House voted overwhelmingly to pass a measure targeting anti-Semitism on campus. CBS 2's Tony Aiello spoke with two local sponsors of the bipartisan bill.
We need to be able to define anti-Semitism.
The bill, sponsored by Republican Mike Lawler and Democrat Josh Gottheimer, does just that. Their Anti-Semitism Awareness Act directs the U.S. Department of Education to use the definition developed by the International Holocaust Remembrance Alliance when enforcing federal anti-discrimination laws. Quote, anti-Semitism is a certain perception of Jews, which may be expressed as hatred toward Jews. It goes on to define examples of anti-Semitism. Some of the heated rhetoric on college campuses would be included.
When you hear from the river to the sea, Palestine will be free, the reality is that is calling for the eradication of Jews and the state of Israel.
All of our colleges have a responsibility to protect against hate and discrimination. And again, there's a difference between speech, which should be protected, and harassment and violence and intimidation, like a death threat.
Colleges that fail to protect Jewish students could face civil rights enforcement. Critics, including Congressman Jerry Nadler, say the bill sweeps too broadly and would chill constitutionally protected free speech, including legitimate criticism of Israel. But others say speech has limits, and some of the rhetoric crosses the line into harassment.
A lot of people come to me, maybe they don't completely understand what they say. Those people are educated adults who are going to the best institutions in the world. They should
See, do you hear what he said? The best institutions in the world. All right. So they got people that are, in these institutions. All right. And, they're meeting with them and they say, listen, we want you to do this, do this encampment thing so we can bring in this law. I mean, it's blatant. I mean, it's so obvious, if you have eyes to see. Okay. And the Lord has given us eyes to see. And they've done this before. They did it with the Black Panther Party. All right. They did it with them. Okay.
Jerry Kirk, while a student at the University of Chicago, was active in the SDS, the Du Bois Club, the Black Panthers, and the Communist Party. In 1969, Mr. Kirk broke from the party, and the following year testified before the House and Senate Internal Security Committees. Here is what Mr. Kirk has told us. Young people have no conception of the conspiracy's strategy of pressure from above and pressure from below.
Yep.
They have no idea that they're playing into the hands of the establishment they claim to hate. The radicals think they're fighting the forces of the super-rich, like Rockefeller and Ford, and don't realize that it is precisely such forces which are behind their own revolution, financing it, and using it for their own purposes.
There you go. So they're using it for their own purposes, man. Okay. So this man is basically, he's concocted all of this. And I'm sure there's some of these people that, care about the cause, but it has a snowball effect, it's just like people looting a store. You go into a store, you see people looting, etc. It happened last year in Paris when that young Arab kid got killed. When people started to loot the stores, people that you wouldn't think would loot the stores, because they saw opportunity, they jumped on the bandwagon. That's what's happening. It's a snowball effect. The bigger the effect, the more that they can push their agendas. And usually that is to bring in laws that take away your rights. All right. So this man is doing this, all right, for a reason, man. And we have to highlight these things for you. Okay. Now, you go to Ezekiel chapter 28, verse 2. All right. Because he has a God complex. That's what you have to understand. He thinks that, he thinks that he can actually outsmart or outmaneuver Yahweh Shem Shai. He's crazy. He's out of his mind. But the scriptures say he would do that, man. All right, Ezekiel 28:2. Son of man, saying unto the prince of Tyrus, thus saith the Lord God, because thine heart is lifted up, and his heart is lifted up, man. He's proud. He's a proud man, neither keepeth at home. Habakkuk chapter 2 verse 4, man. All right, he's a proud man, neither keepeth at home. He's in every country, and he represents one thing. He represents death. There's either death or life, right? There's no in between. He represents death. All right. And if you stay and if you consent to this man, that's what's going to happen. Death. All right. Because thine heart is lifted up, and thou hast said, I am a God. All right. He thinks he's a God. Okay. I sit in the seat of God, in the midst of the seas. Yet thou art a man, and not a God. Yeah, he's not a God. He's just a base man, that the Lord has lifted up. All right, for prophecy's sake. All right, thou hast set thine heart as the heart of God. Okay, and through his different organizations, he's playing God. Thinks he controls people's lives. And that's what all of this New World Order is about. Okay. Verse 3. Behold, thou art wiser than Daniel. So he's wise. He's wiser than the prophet Daniel, but he's wise in wickedness. All right. There is no secret that they can hide from thee. All right. The Lord sees everything. The Lord is programming this bitch to do these things. All right. For prophecy's sake. Okay. Verse 4. With thy wisdom and with thine understanding thou hast gotten thee riches, and hast gotten gold and silver into thy treasures. And that's the biggest point is with this so-called New World Order. That's basically just the so-called white man saying that I want to prolong my kingdom. I want to keep ruling, which is not going to happen. All right. There's an appointed time where the Lord says you can't go past that, man. Okay. He can't go past that. Okay. Let's get that, man. All right. That's what's in his mind. And it's not just him. Even you average peon crackers have that in your mind as well. Like in the UK here, they call it a cost of living crisis. It's not a cost of living crisis. It's your empire coming to an end through the power and spirit of Yahweh Shem Yahushai. All right. This is Psalms 49:11. Their inward thought. All right. So it's not what they say with their mouth, this, that, and that. Their inward thought is that their houses shall continue forever, and their dwelling places to all generations. They call their lands after their own names. All right. And America is a good example. It's named after Amerigo Vespucci. Was he an explorer? All right. The whole continent of Africa, which is really should be called the land of Ham, because the original inhabitants of the continent of Africa are Hamites. All right. We're Israelites. We migrate into that continent. But it's named after Leo Scipio Africanus, another cracker, an Edomite. All right. So their inward thought is the houses shall continue on forever. And that's what this so-called New World Order is. He just wants to prolong his rule. He sees the signs, and he knows that Yahushua is coming back. All right. So that goes into what? Revelations 12:12, man. All right. All right. Let's get that. All right. Because sooner or later, all right, all these things that they're doing, all right, you're going to feel the effect. You might not feel the effect of it now. When all hell breaks loose, all right, when this dollar collapses, then you're going to feel it, man. All right. Then you're going to feel it. And then that's when behind closed doors, they're going to be gloating, etc. But they know that Yahushua is coming back. All right, they know that, man, and they're even gonna try and fight him. And I say try, you know, which is just absolutely ridiculous. In 1 hour, the Heavenly Father Son is gonna destroy them and the whole world's armies, and America will be nuked as well. Okay, so there's a process to the end time prophecies, which is major destruction on the planet Earth, and it's stepping stones towards that process. All right, so that's why we have to be paying attention to all the things that are going on in the world, and be constant in prayer as well, you know. So Revelations 12:12, therefore rejoice ye heavens, and ye that dwell in them. Woe to the inhabitants of the earth. All right, inhabitants of the earth. All right, and the word woe means destruction, and the main people that they want to destroy is our people. If they can if they can exterminate the 12 tribes of Israel, then the prophecy of us ruling forever under Yahushua coming back and establish his kingdom on earth, all right, that will be a major game changer to try and exterminate. But the Lord is not going to allow that to happen. All right, he's going to preserve his elect. All right, so woe to the inhabitants of the earth and the sea, for the devil is come down unto you having great wrath, because he knoweth that he have but a short time. A short time to do what? To complete his so-called New World Order. And he keeps showing you he's oh, this devil. This devil, man. You know? Oh, this man is a you know, he's a real serpent, he's a real snake. Because he keeps showing you in his movies. That's how stupid this bitch is, man. He actually tells you what he's planning to do, you know? And that's the arrogance he has, because like you know, we went into what's it called in Ezekiel, was it Ezekiel 28, where he said he's wiser than Daniel, he sits in the seat as he is God, you know? That's how stupid he is. He's overconfident. So when you look at, for example, this film, and I watched it, what's it called, Civil War, is it? Yeah, I think it's called Civil War. I've watched this film, all right, and to be fair, I thought it would be better than it is, but it's not just about watching these films for entertainment. They're showing you what is coming, man, all right? And there's a lot of death in this film, man. A lot of blood, a lot of chaos, you know, and violence was like nothing. It was just a normal thing. All right, people hanging, lynching, you know, people was, you know, there were clips of that, you know, militias everywhere, journalists getting shot. Okay, so they're showing you. So this is what is coming down the pipeline. Revelations 12:12. The devil having great wrath because he has but a short time. He's short time because who? Because Yahweh Shem Yahushai is going to send, is going to come back. All right, Yahushua is going to come up with the chariots and destroy this bitch and establish his kingdom on earth. He knows that. He sees the eclipses. He sees the, you know, the blood moons. All right. So that's why he's doing these things, you know, orchestrating, you know, these different legislations, getting pieces of the puzzle, or, you know, in place. All right. So when this destruction happens, all right, everything will be perfect. You know, my people shall be led as a flock to the slaughter. So that's our jobs, to warn you of this, man. Because they're going to be like, what? Mad men sparing none. Okay? So understand that we have to, what's it called? Not be ignorant to the devices of Satan, man. All right? And we're going to get that, and I'm just going to close. I don't want to make it too long. All right? But you brothers and the sisters that are in this truth, just be very careful about what you say, especially about these Amalekites. All right, because the reason why they're doing all that as well is because they're weak. That's why they're weak. It's a desperate attempt. Everyone sees what's going on, especially over there in our homeland, the slaughter and stuff like that. So they're trying to basically criminalize people for having an opinion that is not in line with theirs. All right. So we just have to be very careful. Be wise as a serpent and harmless as a dove. I think we're going to get that scripture actually. All right. But let's get this one. 2 Corinthians 2:11, man. All right. Yep. All right. This is 2 Corinthians chapter 2, verse 11. All right. At least Satan should get an advantage of us. All right. And an advantage is something, that, if you don't know, all right, the tricks of the enemy, all right, then the enemy's got an advantage over you. But if you do know the tricks and the devices of the enemy, then they don't have an advantage over you. All right. That's why it's very important that we do these videos and we lock in. All right. And do what, the prophet said, like, in the book of Mark, watch as well as pray. All right. Watch for what? The prophecies, what's going on in the world. Okay. All right. So 2 Corinthians 2:11, lest Satan should get an advantage of us, for we are not ignorant of his devices. Ignorant, and the word ignorant means not to know, of his devices, man. All right. Now let's get that in the NLT. All right, and let's see how that. It's the same scripture, but in the NLT. All right. 2 Corinthians 2:11 in the NLT. It says, so that Satan will not outsmart us, for we are familiar with his evil schemes. All right. So because the Lord has put the Spirit on us to know this devil and his evil schemes, we have to highlight and do these videos, man. So the same. So he won't have an advantage over us, man. Okay. All right. Let's see. Let's go back here. And all that college, university fraternity is all bullshit, man. All right. Believe that, man. I went to university, I wasn't a part of any fraternity or anything like that. I was brainwashed at one point going to university. It's all bullshit, man. It's just a piece of paper, man. That's all. And over there in America, I think you pay like 30 grand a year for that. It's a scam. Oh, it's a scam. Just get an apprenticeship and, learn a trade. Like Yahushua, he was doing carpentry. Before he did his ministry, he was, a carpenter, man. Learn a trade like that, and just work. We're not here. Listen, we're in hell. All right. That's why the Bible says, give us this day our daily bread, man. All this business of being a high flyer and all that stuff. And that's why our people that want to be high flyers, they go to these universities and they sell out. And they're part of these fraternities, man. And once you sign up to them fraternities and, secret oaths, your relationship with your creator, the Heavenly Father Yahweh, is finished. You make an oath, to any group and stuff like that, which is a Masonic Satan. That's it. You're done, man. All right. Pray to Satan when the time of trouble comes. So let's see this now. Let's go back there. Let's go here. Let's go and look at the word devices there. So we're not ignorant to his evil schemes, man. Okay. So let's look at the word devices here.
Strong's G 3540.
Naima. A mental perception, thought, and evil purpose So all of these things that are happening, that he's constructing, is for evil purposes, man. All right, that which thinks, the mind, thoughts or purposes, you know. And that reminds me of this devil. All right, there was an old cracker Freemason. What was his name? Walter Scott. All right. Yeah, Walter Scott. I think he was a famous author. Yeah, this bitch here, man. You know, and he was definitely a Mason. He made this quote. He said, "Oh, what a tangled web we weave, when first we practice to deceive." All right. That's his quote. All of the things that he could have quoted, he talked about deception. Because you know why? Because he's a devil, man. All right. All right. And the word devil just means deceiver. That's all it means. All right. So we're not ignorant to Satan's devices, man. All right. So they're bringing in legislation. All right. For them Amalekites. All right. So what do we have to do? We have to do what the Lord has commanded us to do, man. All right. Which is to be what in this time? And Yahushua is the best example, man. You know, when they, gave him to Pontius Pilate, you know, he had to take it, man. He had to take the L. He had to take the low. He had to take the low, man. All right. And that's what we're going to have to do in these last days. So, have some wisdom, because if you know that they're bringing in these laws to protect them, there's no point going at these Amalekites all guns blazing, despite the wickedness. In the kingdom, we're going to have 1,000 years to kick their ass. All right. So it's Matthew 10:16. Behold, I will send you forth as sheep in the midst of wolves. All right. And we are sheep, and we were lost, but now, hey, the Lord's woken us up and put us in his truth. We're found, man, and we know who we are. We have a strong foundation, man. And that foundation is this truth, this word. All right. So hold tight to it, man. All right. I send you forth as a sheep in the midst of wolves, and some of them wolves are our own people, man. All right. So how should we react in this time? So be ye therefore wise as serpents. All right. And as I said, the serpent is very wise and subtle. All right. And harmless as doves. So we have to be harmless as doves. So they're bringing in this legislation to protect them Amalekites. All right. So we have to be very careful what we say, man. Okay. So listen, I hope you were edified. Until the next one, Shalom.